you are still watching Acfim Talks, and welcome back from the break. I still have with me Henry Kasacha and also Henry Moguzi. We are looking at the marriage between BP, Democratic Party, and NRA, the National Resistance Movement, and what is its implication on democracy. But before we went for a break, Henry Kasacha was trying to, in a broader sense, paint the picture of the winners, the losers, and what this means in broader sense, and how it's going to test our politics. I think it's the first time we had in such an arrangement, a formal arrangement, I think in the last 10 or 15 years, where one political party agrees to work with the other in a cooperation arrangement. Let me come to you, Henry Moguzi. Concerning that, analysts have argued that the decision taken by General Museveni, and I think you'll also agree with me, for those who have followed General Museveni, it doesn't necessarily move these chips unless there's something he has perfectly calculated he is benefiting from. Some have argued, and probably some think probably is politically, or there is something in him, like an opportunity he's trying to seize. What is your reading of the situation, especially at this point in time?
Yeah, of course. Before I say my reading, let me mention a few things that came to my mind as my namesake was sharing. The first one is if one of the expectations of this cooperation is that the MP, the legislators, the DP legislators in the parliament will have to support the positions of the party in power with whom they've entered the cooperation agreement, then I think you're going to have to need some legal interpretation, because the voters, the electors elected these fellows to go and represent the party, not the position of the party in power. So what does that mean? Is that a crossover? So I think that will need to be interpreted. Now, we understand the DP as being a center-right party. NRM is center-left. DP stands for truth and justice. For you to stand for truth and justice, you must have strong respect for the rule of law. Those aspects don't seem to sit in well with the NRM, we know. How are they going to reconcile? The third one, if it's one of the agreements that they will have to first seek the concurrence and review, NRM shall seek concurrence and review of DP. Have we known NRM to do this? Our brothers in Nigeria say that if it has been a goat on Monday, a goat on Tuesday, it cannot become a cow on Wednesday, because the goat is a goat. So do we expect them to change their modus operandi? Those are questions we need to ponder about as the citizens of Uganda. Now, I alluded to this in the beginning, that the General Museveni we know is a Museveni that will do something when it suits his interests. Now, we know that as we speak, the regime is at its weakest, okay, because of its overstay. But that notwithstanding, his major interest is regime survival. So there must be a way in which this appointment is going to serve the interests of regime survival. Now look, why the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, at a time, you asked earlier, what about the timing? At a time when the regime is contemplating a constitutional amendment, there have been some discussions, loose discussions about the shift from presidentialism to parliamentarism. And what else is in that shift? Because we do know that on the cards of the regime, the issue of constitutional review is there. Now, has the general that we know understood through his very laborious homework that Nobody Mao is the person to deliver the goods? Maybe, or maybe not, but that remains to be seen. And what about the appointment of Hamson Obua into the very sensitive and strategic place as chief whip? You remember if there's going to be any amendment of any sort, then the chief whip has to play his role in terms of whipping the party members. So I think there is something that we should be able to see. I don't think it is merely collaborating, cooperating, and blah, blah. There must be something that the general that we have come to learn and know over the last 37 years is seeing. And if it's not constitutional review, there is something that he wants to pass. And therefore, I think let's keep our eyes open to monitor and learn, because for some of us who did political science, we are learning every day from this man, and we're writing a book. I'm personally writing a book on this man, so that so that we can be able to predict the future. Back to you, Felix.
Thank you so much, Henry Moguzi. Let me come to you, Henry Kasasha. I know you might have, you may well have a position on what Henry is just submitting in terms of probably what the president is looking at in this cooperation agreement. What is it in for him, individually as a president, but also probably as NRM, the party in power. But as you also answer that one, also help us understand probably what are the lessons the rest of the opposition political parties can draw from this development. Remember, UPC took this road. The difference was that with UPC, I think they never formalized, but somehow they are collaborating. And we've seen some people have argued that UPC is an extension of NRM as a party. So Mao takes the path of having something probably formalized in a cooperation agreement. Should we expect others to join? There have been some hush talks that probably FDC or NOP. What's your take?
Well, you see, personally, I don't expect them to join. I expect them to enjoy the fruits of these processes. I've been facilitating dialogue, and at one time I want to tell you that FDC had told me that, we don't have to be part of NSCI signing. Let the NRM just do the right things. We don't have to sit there and then have the photos and the donors see that they are facilitating political leaders to sit together. That's not important. Let them follow the law, and this country will be free and safe. So others don't have to join. What they need is that there must be a communication on the issues that stop democratic growth. And this is the problem that we are having. They believe that the NRM is blocking democratic growth. It's killing the spirit of multi-party politics. And the NRM hides under law and order to say we are safeguarding central business district, as if central business district is a fundamental human right. So these issues will require communication back and forth and the consensus position reached. So if Norbert Mao can deliver this, the others will celebrate. Secondly, I would say that this could be a starting point that any cooperation, especially as we go into 2026 general elections, parties must cooperate, must have an institutionalized framework, which will include sharing government money. Because if we don't field candidates and you support your candidate, we must agree that you are going to give us 15% of the overall money you get. So if NRM has agreed with the DP that in 2026 we are going into an election and don't field candidates in this sub-region, and then when you have candidates, you get chances of getting more money in parliament. The NRM will say we shall give you a sub-grant of 15% of our money. This is not blocked anywhere in the law. So NRM or DP or FDC can have an alliance that if you support our candidates, when the money comes after we have got into parliament and have more seats than you, we shall compensate your efforts by giving you a quarterly percentage on the money we get. So they get 10 billion, they'll be giving JEMA or DP or whatever 1 billion. And that is an arrangement they can use for institutional growth. So what the others can learn from this is that any discussion going forward, if NUP is going to work with whoever political party, if DC or whatever, let them institutionalize. Otherwise, if you don't institutionalize, you are going to be in the same cycle and you are making Ugandans lose hope in these coalitions. I mean, today we are now in a very difficult situation. if the parties have been fighting together and then they want to come and say we are going to work together, they can't agree on the basics. Why the parties fail to have a meaningful coalition is that they could not agree on the fundamental political issues of power. People have been campaigning for 5 years, making ground. Then you say here we are bringing FDC. Here it is. This is the new area. Now this region is for this party. Now that is going to be politics is about power, and I want to agree with Henry. The president could not sign this. This is not a charity. It's about power. And if you look at it, even Mao is aware this is about power. Unlike all the other agreements we have seen, this is, I mean, you see the intention, whether it works or not, but the intention is clear that we want to influence something. So whether the character betrays them, they have given it a benefit of doubt. Let us take him by his word. And if his word does not come, they will not go to court. They will have to come and tell Ugandans, we entered this arrangement, it cannot work. And from this day on, we are out of it and we are forming another alliance with another political party. This issue of allying is not cast in stone that you are traditionally going to be with the FDC and DP and JEMA. Elsewhere, look at Kenya, what is happening? Ruto was with the Uhuru just 10 years ago. Now they are head on. Raila was the other side. And the alliances are moving depending on the power question. The issues why the Kenyan alliances are moving is people are negotiating positions. Now you would ask me, if really DP went into this, would they only negotiate for 3 positions? The one of this minister and the other minister and and the committee MPs. Why didn't you have a substantive negotiation? Because even the agenda is so restricted. They did not discuss negotiate from this agreement. You can see that the only issue that DP put on the table is transition, constitutional reforms, reconciliation. DP did not put the economy on this issue. That economy is in the general issues of we shall consult you on other issues. So they cannot be able to say we need to have a position in this ministry to say, because they are not sure even how this government operates. You think you are going into those ministries, but the power is not there. You're just going to go there, enjoy your VIP and forward drive and all these access, but the decisions are not going to happen there. And even this comes, even if we are looking at Norbert Mao, well, let us not expect Norbert Mao to deliver miracles. I would actually look at it as bringing a Harvard professor of surgery. You bring him to Chisenyi to treat people. And this professor of surgery has to depend on the lab in that hospital, that facility. When it says, please check urine, please check this, check CBC, check typhoid, check TB, and what have you, this professor cannot do anything unless the man of the lab has brought the results.
Yes, results, yeah.
Now, in the lab, there is no microscope. In the lab, the other technician is not interested. The other one works when he wants. So this professor of surgery from Harvard is not going to do an operation in Kampala. And he'll go back to Harvard saying, I was not successful because the lab was not functioning. So even Honorable Mao coming into as Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, he is going to depend on the hurdles that have been put in this agreement. If cabinet takes a position, it is not time to begin this, he has to be banned. So that is the lab now. The doctor can't prescribe medicine because he has not seen the lab results. So this is likely to happen. Now, on the other issues, of course, character of Museveni, and this has been on the table for a very long time. We found it here, some of us, and we have seen it. And we are now saying this is an opportunity. If Norbert Mao can go in, and he has to tell the president that this is how people see you. They do not believe you can be carried on your word. And please demonstrate you can. If that is not important for the president, he will just ignore and say, let them say what they want. But the important thing is to fix Uganda. Let people say what they want. After all, they can talk, and when they are tired, they go, they drink, and they go and sleep, and we have to unite Africa. So it is this opportunity, again, that is putting the character of the president on the screen and the platform. The issue of whether he's doing it purposely for power is not a question. This is not just for showing off. They are trying to see on how to balance power. Then, of course, Henry, you said the regime is at its weakest. Yes, it could be at its weakest, and it has to look at all the options. That yes, now at this point, the only thing you have to do, if you're fighting someone and you realize you have run out of bullets, you begin saying, "We have so many people have died. Let us call for a ceasefire." As you wait for backup, and this is a tactic. So this could happen now. By the time you have realized your backup, nothing has been delivered on the substantive policy issues Robert Mao will be putting across, and that may be a different story. But if this does not deliver, it's not a guarantee that DP will work out. It's a guarantee. It could be that DP may break, because the environment where Mao is in is going to be extremely hostile. We told you, you are a sellout, we can't trust you, you are a mole, you have come back. This is going to likely to continue. So it's really Mao putting his political career at the firing line. But as he puts it on the firing line, there are some elements that we think, let us try them. There is no hurry. We have been here for 36 years. I mean, dialogue I facilitated dialogue from 2011. I know it takes a lot. You can sit for 1 year, and on the signing day, people say this clause is not right. And I give you an example. In IPOD, we are sometimes discussing police brutality. And the opposition was saying police uses excessive force. And then NRM said it is not true. They said no, sometimes police use excessive force. So NRM was insisting sometimes police use excessive force. The opposition was saying they use excessive force all the time. We failed to agree on a document, simply of that one. And I remember in one of the meetings, an NRM member says, how much violence does the traffic police use? Don't generalize. You see how we are now this. So this one, put an example. No, when you make that statement, it creates an impression that the police is going out on people all the time. And then somebody, NRM delegate says, but how much violence do you see traffic police officers using? They talk to you nicely, they arrest you. There are some cases that happen. So the opposition could not agree that there are some cases. They say, no, you are trying to undermine the magnitude of the problem. And we could not agree on any issue. So I think that, yes, they are going in for power. But there is a lot at stake at the moment. A lot at stake for the party, a lot at stake for Honorable Norbert Mao. And he has to stand for and explain this to him, because the challenge Honorable Norbert Mao has at the moment is that it appears he went into this agreement without a minimum level of consensus internally. I don't know, because at all levels, people are up in arms, and either they are not being honest, they knew he was doing something, and they're also trying to test the waters. How do you associate with this thing at the moment? You first distance yourself. When it cools, then you can say Mao has now come. Yes, so there is a lot of dishonesty also on that going on. But I think from taking it on the face value of it, I think there was minimum consultation on the part of the Democratic Party, and this is going to undermine their commitments in this agreement.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Our time is really fast spent. I think I have one question to Henry Muguzi before I wrap it up. So I'll borrow an extra 5 minutes for that matter. Henry, I know you've observed the politics in the region, and when you clearly look at it across the East African region, for example, opposition, as we know it, is not necessarily the real definition of opposition political parties. It's more or less just in the name. We've seen the handshake between Raila and Uhuru. We've seen the handshake now between Mao and Museveni. When you move across Tanzania, you do not see real opposition in terms of multi-party dispensation. Kenya in Rwanda, I think that's another case altogether. So is Burundi. Why is the region short of opposition political parties that are functional and can provide alternatives and can engage?
Thank you very much. And I think it stems from the types of democratic dispensations that we are practicing. And I think there's a slide that the producer should put up on these systems, because they tell us that there are 4. There is a single party system, dual party system, multi-party system, and the dominant party system. In most of our countries, in Uganda, in Rwanda, in Tanzania, we are experiencing what you call dominant party system. The party in power is having a field day. Now, when it comes to handshakes, you know that that all through the second regime of Uhuru Kenyatta in Kenya, immediately after that golden handshake, and mark you, when Raila was going to that for that handshake, he did not inform ODM. He didn't. When I interacted with one of them, they tell us that he only told us when he returned that there's been a handshake. So, but from that point, that handshake, then opposition became Raila almost became the de facto vice president, deputy president. So the handshake weakened everything. And therefore, today in Kenya, you don't have potential opposition because the opposition has aligned with the party in power, the Jubilee coalition, and because they want the party in power to bless them. So that has weakened the opposition. Now, back in Uganda, we don't know the handshake that happened between Mao and Museveni that has yielded this appointment. But there must have been a handshake. And of course, when you look in Rwanda, you are looking for opposition, you can't find. You go to Tanzania, you can't find opposition. South Sudan is yet to test an election. In Burundi, you cannot find an opposition. So I think the opposition in these countries has to put the act together, okay? Because even when they have united like it is in Kenya, still the opposition is not playing the role of opposition, and this is not good for multi-party democracy in this region. And therefore, we are seeing more and more a tendency towards dominant political party systems as opposed to multi-party political systems as it were. Thank you, Felix.
Thank you so much. And that wraps up today's edition of Acfim Talks. We were discussing the marriage between DP and NRM, the implications on Uganda's democracy. And with me, I had Henry Kasacha, who is a political analyst, democracy expert, and just a pioneer of the inter-party organization for dialogue at NIM. The NIMD is Netherlands Institute of Democracy. I also had with me Henry Moguzi, who is the political finance expert, democracy and governance analyst, and also a pioneer of campaign finance in Uganda. They were weighing in on the matter. And with me, I bring this to a close. I remain Felix Kafuma. Until next time, same time. Bye-bye. Take care. God bless.